right here.
That's a lot of information.
We're live, Jeff.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Jeff's Custom RC, and we got the crew in here tonight. We got
Nice.
Mr. Stuart Warren from Hobby King, as you all well know, and we got Mr. Bobby from RC Plane Reviewer and Jeff NC84, the cameraman with the plan.
Yes, sir.
How
Happening,
you guys doing tonight?
Bobby, Jeff.
Very good.
Well, yeah, I'm a little bit under the weather. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, but we're talking about planes, so what can be better?
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always good. Yeah. So I'm telling you, man, I don't know about you guys, but I'm digging this new plane. This is a beautiful airplane, as you guys can see. Flies incredibly well. I think Stuart's got the civilian scheme behind him. I think
Beautiful.
Bobby and Jeff got the civilian scheme as well. But guys, this plane is amazing. The scale, fidelity of it, everything about it, how it flies. Stuart, tell us, man. You're the one that came up with this redesign. So tell us what you did.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I will do that, and that's what some of the comments I've seen is people saying, "Oh, what are the improvements? What are the changes?" If it wasn't clear, now's a good opportunity to go into it. So this is the excuse me, Avios C130 V2. Notable changes from the original version. Everyone here now we've all flown one, and you'll attest to the fact that it's very light in the way it flies, and that it slows down really nice. It doesn't really look like it's going to drop a wing when flying slow, which when I first saw the V1, and when I first saw the video, I was like, okay, it looks really cool, but they're not flying it so slow. C130s are not fast models. They should fly slow. And I got my hands on the original V1 when we were working over it, and we found that by reducing a lot of the wires that Jeff is showing in there, much reduced from what they were on the V1, by being more practical with the weight distribution and by using a lighter paint scheme, we were able to reduce the wing loading. And that's one of the key changes for the V2. It's a lighter loaded model and it flies better because of it. On the Jeff, can you show your rudder there?
Yes. Let me get around here.
Now, I don't know if many of you remember who had the original one, but the rudder system was underneath the fuselage, out in the wind completely, and it wasn't so efficient in its connectivity. It's also more weight in the components used, so we just did the simple thing and moved it to the vertical stab, which is a tried and tested way of doing things with RC models. It's more efficient, and it's lighter, and it's easier to set up. So that's one of the other key changes. Also, maybe you guys have all seen this, but if you look on the nose, included in the box, there's just this little plastic cap.
Yep, we noticed that.
It's a small thing, very, very small thing. But what I noticed straight away is that, especially when you're transporting or putting a model together, you put it up on its nose, and the foam there would always crush. So it was a very simple fix, just to mold a plastic nose cover that goes on the front there. It's pretty much invisible, and it just makes it that much tougher. And then it's the new color schemes, and again the schemes are lighter because where there would be white paint, there's just white foam now, which I think works well. So not a great deal of fundamental changes, but those small changes.
This is cool right here too, guys. That's a hard point as well, which
Yeah.
Yeah,
you don't see on many airplanes. So that's really cool right there too.
I think that was there from the V1. As a V1, it was a good airframe. It just you need a few more tweaks to make it even that much better.
You need a few more improvements to make it a better aircraft.
Yeah, and the flap geometry was originally improved on later batches of the V1, but not many people were aware of that. So this has that improved flat geometry. It can be done with a 7-channel. I think Jeff, you're now running it on a 7-channel. I've actually done it on an 8-channel. With my inboards, I have a different endpoint setting to my outboards, and I can get really nice full deflection now on those flaps, and that helps in the slow flight as well. But even without the flaps, it's flying that much slower. So yeah, not massive fundamental changes, but they all come together to make a much slower flying and better experienced model in the air. And I remember the V1 was a little bit tipstally. I think probably because of these changes, that seems to have disappeared somewhat. It doesn't really storm when it does. It's not a nasty surprise.
Well, and I tell you, I think the props are amazing looking
They
on
look-
this plane,
they look really
man.
good.
They're
look
very
so
they're very
scale.
rigid too.
Yeah.
And the detail on the props is great. The paint job, the whole 9 yards with those looks really, really nice.
And we simplified it. The two different scheme models now actually just have the same props, so you don't have to worry about one prop being out of stock. If you're fussy about colors, it's all just the same prop. Of course, if you have the V1 props, they'll still work. They just won't be in this color. It's the same for all the parts, actually. All of the parts apart from the vertical tail are pretty much interchangeable with the V1 over the V2.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, but somebody put our props on backwards, opposite, and wanted our plane to fly backwards.
It's self-corrected, I tell you that much. You
Yeah.
can only get it right once,
That's right.
That's what I told Jeff. I was like, if it's not right, we'll know right away. And so, just to add to Stuart, one of the small things me and Jeff noticed that we really liked was that in the packaging, the screws, they're labeled.
Yeah, a lot of labels.
Yeah.
No guesswork.
Yeah, of
No
where they
guesswork.
go. Elevator,
It
aileron.
saves you so much time. Yeah,
Yeah.
so much time.
Which is good because you guys, I know, got it before the instruction manual was ready. And actually, the manual's still not ready. It's going up live tomorrow on the site.
No, it's-
But it does make it that much easier when those bags are labeled. Yeah, for sure.
we figured it out. And I mean, like I said, most people, if you're familiar with an airplane, you've ever assembled a foam airplane before, this is going to be no worries for you. No problem.
Yeah.
Look at Mr. Good hair down there. Look at that. Let me comb his hair a little bit.
I know. Look at it. It's shiny. It's got
Hey,
nice
man.
shape
Hey,
to
man.
it.
What do you say?
It just lays like perfectly. We're
Like
jealous.
Silver Fox.
Yeah.
I was about to say Silver Fox.
I'll tell you another cool thing that I was impressed by with this airplane, talking about the assembly of it, was all of the screws are hex head, I believe 2.5 millimeter screws, which you don't have to fiddle with Phillips heads. I hate Phillips heads, guys. They
Yeah.
strip off.
Yeah.
You can use your basic tools that most of us have, the wrenches, the hex wrenches, and either that, if you don't have that, you have Allen wrenches. But just putting this thing together with the screws was awesome because, again, I hate Phillips head screws. So another home run to me that Avios looked at and said, hey, let's give them all nice size screws. So that's a good deal too.
I really like hex heads. Even we've started moving over on some new models that are coming from Phillips on the self tappers to hex. Like kind of like the Jubro self tapping screws.
Yes.
With the washer, but ours will have the washer soldered onto the actual screw itself, and you can use a hex or a ball hex, which is even better because you can get more of an angle.
Right.
Of course, they're metric, but I think everybody there now has a metric set of hex drivers, even in the US, right?
Yeah.
It's the small things, but all in all, there wasn't a great deal to change. But the changes we made were worthwhile. It was already a good model to start with. But you've all been flying it, right? I'm not making it up when I say it flies slow, really well, right?
Well, it flies scale.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that I like about it. It flies very scale. It's not supposed to be a powerhouse. Now, if you want to compare the Albatross has got more power, but it should, especially to get up on step on water, things like that. But this plane flies very scale. And if you watch my maiden, and if you haven't, definitely check it out as well. All the guys that were watching me fly it, they couldn't believe how greasy it came in. I mean, it just landed. And they even said something about, man, could you do that again and do it a little bit smoother? It was perfect. And, for a maiden flight, I mean, I have no qualms with it whatsoever. I was very impressed by it, very docile. And again, the battery placement was a no-brainer. The CG is dead on with the manual that comes with it, the quick manual, 50 to 60 millimeters back from the leading edge. I flew it with a 2200 4S. Now, I know Bobby and Jeff, they're gonna have to do a speed test. So
it's coming.
So
it's coming.
they're gonna probably be cramming. They'll probably be cramming a 5 or 6S in there for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I asked Stuart earlier. I was like, "You think we could put a 5S in that thing?"
We did do it with a 2600 though.
Yeah, we did. We flew it with the 2600. I know it can handle a 3000 if it can handle that. So
yeah,
super impressive airplane though. It was amazing how well it flew. Me and Jeff, when we took it off, it was so smooth and fluid on takeoff, and it flies so slow. It's amazing how slow it goes, but it's got great power.
Yeah.
Well-
if you put on full throttle, it will climb out, nicely. It's got more.
Well, I'll
power
tell you
than
what I was impressed with, guys. And I mean, Jeff and Bobby are the same way as I am. They fly on the nice grass strip as well. And I was very impressed with its ability to roll out and rotate on grass and also land on grass. So a lot of you guys that are watching this tonight and seeing all these videos that we're all putting out on this airplane, if you notice, most all of them are off of grass, guys. So if you've got a question of will this plane fly on grass? Yes, absolutely it will. So again, that's very impressive for me.
It's not a great deal of clearance on the.
No.
I mean, look, I don't know if you can see it there, but here's the wheel and here's the nose gear door cover. There's not much room there. There's really not much room, but it handles it well.
It does.
And we were flying off of frosty grass when we flew it in the video, and it left like the marks in the ground as it went along on the frost.
Yeah.
But, it was good for that.
The front gear door on the nose, Stuart, that folds out went before the front one.
Oh, the front one. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So, there's a delay on it. So when me and Bob were first looking at it, we're like, man, that's going to get ripped off. Because I did notice you have to let the gear fully cycle. Like if you short cycle the switch, they're not going to, you have to let it fully cycle and then they'll work right. But that door was still hanging because we had short cycled it. And we were like, Bob was like, man, Jeff, that's going to get ripped off, man. I'm worried about it.
No, that tucks up nicely. And that's the other great thing about the new plastic cap on the nose. When you're cycling gear, mostly you put your model up on its nose to do that. So that's now you can do that with no risk of damaging the phone because it's got that plastic cap on.
Hey, Stuart, by the way, somebody in the channel asked, they said, can it reverse? Can you reverse the ESC?
These ones are not set up for reversing. Well, they're not reversing ESCs. But, I mean, you could still set up differential thrust if you wanted to, which could make you, turn on a dime kind of thing. But you'd have to put individual leads on each speed controller to do that. It's certainly possible. But no, these are not reversing ESCs. Doesn't mean they can't be in the future if that's a possibility, but they're not right now.
Hey, check it out. Deuce is Wild.
The live stream is not complete without mentioning Jeff's perfect hair.
Come on now.
His perfect hair.
Hey, Deuces, that's my man. Good job.
I'm standing out.
Hey, look, and guys, I want to say another thing tonight to Jeff sitting here. This is all possible because of Jeff. He's helping me get into this thing with StreamYard. I was trying to do stuff with OBS, man, which was killing me. And Jeff's really helping me with this stuff. We still got some work to do, as you guys saw tonight, just getting it right. But we're closer, and that's all because of Jeff. Jeff, I appreciate you for getting this done for us, man. Thank you much.
No problem.
And Bobby, thank you for letting me use your behind the scenes man and your cameraman.
Hey, we all play for the same team, dude. Same hobby.
Wait. I ain't signed no contract with Bobby. I'm a free agent.
Oh, no. He signed a contract in blood. Don't believe that.
Lord. So yes, I mean, so guys, look, you got two schemes to choose from in this airplane. And like I said, I think he got the civilian. Stewart's got the civilian behind him. But of course, Coast Guard. I love Coast Guard. So these colors, I'm all about it. But
when I saw the Coast Guard sample first, and right away I was like, "Yep, that really works. It looks completely at home and looks amazing." And I really, really liked it. And then we was shopping around for, a civilian scheme that was, attractive but not overly complicated for, production reasons. But at the same time was, striking. And we found there was a South African company that used these, I think back in the 80s. And this scheme is based on that. And this is, a sports car version of this. It says Avios instead of the name of the real company. But red, white, and blue always sell well. It's of all the colors and all the models, they're always the most popular selling models. It had the silver on it as well, but it also had quite a lot of white, which was important because we needed that for the weight saving because we could use the foam. But I think the two of them worked out well. But we did put our money on the military one, on the Coast Guard one, and that is the one we've been vindicated because that is the one that's selling, quite a bit higher numbers than the transport version. But still, the transport version is nice, and also it's nice because it gets into our catalog another civilian, like a Scout civilian plane, which I think is something we want to keep exploring. But in terms of popularity, the U.S. Coast Guard one is way ahead.
Yeah.
Definitely way ahead.
I love it. I'm telling you.
The civilian livery, it gets hard to see at dark.
It's got the lights. We do have the lights. They help.
It's got the lights, man. We had a blast doing it at night. But I'll tell you that when I got way out there making that turn, man, it was like, which way am I facing? Without the navigation lights, I would have known. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, that's why I got contacts, man, because I need to see them from a distance,
Hey, Jeff, did you see Tim Touton gives you $25?
I did, and I wanted to say thank you to him. Appreciate that so much. Tim is awesome. And guys, hopefully let's all hope and pray he'll get some good news from his test results tomorrow. So Tim, thinking about you, man, and thank you so much. He's also a great supporter of the channel. And also, guys, if you haven't checked out, who doesn't know Jeff and Bobby, but if you guys haven't checked out RC Plane Reviewer with these two guys, definitely check out their channel and give them a like. Check out the videos. They're doing some great stuff, especially with the speed tests and everything they're doing. And, and of course, we all love Stuart. So, Stuart's always putting out some good stuff, too, when he has time. And
on my own channel,
you just put out a great gasser video, man. That was a beautiful plane, man.
Yeah, my vintage ARF, which seems really funny to say, vintage almost ready to fly. That's ridiculous. But yeah, it's got a nice laser 4-stroke in it, and it's just fun. I'm just putting up stuff that I'm interested in. If other people are interested in it, then great. I'm not taking it beyond that, but. Yeah, I think everyone else is doing a great job with their channels, and it's really good to see. I wanted to say that Tim you just mentioned, I wanted to say thank you too, because he said he just pulled the trigger on the C-130.
He did,
nice.
Yes. But he is also painting his PJ-50 to look like the Coast Guard scheme as well. So he's going to have two to set side by side and really look nice together, Yeah.
The Coast Guard schemes work well.
They do. Yeah,
I don't think they're they're pretty middle territory in terms of they're not likely to offend anybody, and they're just good schemes because good military schemes. They're good high visibility, and they look great on models. They look good on the Albatross as well, for example. Yes.
Well, I know, and I'm sure Bobby did as well with Jeff, and I put my stuff in the link. For my videos, if you guys want to get you one of these or the civilian scheme, you know where to go. Definitely click on the links of any of these guys' videos. I know Bobby, Brendan, Just Plain Crazy, John VH, they've put out videos. So it's all a matter of what you like and who you want to see. But everybody's doing great videos on these airplanes, guys, because they're such incredibly great flying planes. And I'm not saying that either just because, but it is for the size, the money. I think it's a value.
What is it? It's $399 there, right, in the US?
Yeah. And you're
$399.
Yeah, you're getting 4 motors, the cargo door, the lights,
slats.
3 tracks.
I'd like to see one a little bigger.
It's funny you should say that. This model, because this is the V2, the concept of the model first came around just before I left Hobby King the first time, which was around 2017. And my good friend and CEO of the company at the time, Toby, was like, "Yeah, we're going to do this." And I was like, "Well, I'm leaving. I'll help you with it. But I don't think it's a good idea." And I said, "But if you do it, make sure you do it big." And I was like, "Oh yeah, we'll definitely do it big." And then when it came out, it was like 1600 millimeters. I was like, "Oh well, that could be big." And then I saw it, and I thought, "Well, it's actually a little small, but it is and it isn't." But
it's good size.
Jeff, you're right. A 2-meter one would be amazing, but that would cost way more than $400.
Hey, I'd be good with that though.
Yeah, I'd run out and go buy one right now.
That would have Jeff's name all over it. You know, Jeff would have to have that.
It's got to have
I-
lights, even more lights on it. That
That's
was
right.
funny.
No
I
doubt.
really like the gear door lights. When the gear door pop open, the two white
Yeah.
LEDs
Yes.
that face forward.
And like the cargo door, when that comes open, you see the light there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
by
really
the way, Stuart. So, I always like to ask some pretty heavy
Loaded
questions, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Loaded
Yeah,
questions.
And
I got
so,
I got my whiskey, so it's
this
okay.
one- I was getting ready to say, go ahead, take a swig. No, but seriously, we don't get a chance to, and a lot of people that are in the channel don't get a chance to actually speak to somebody on the inside like yourself. And so, like, take us through the whole beginning to end process that you go through when you bring a model from concept all the way to like the hands of the consumers. How does it all happen? Because I've often wondered.
Yeah, well, we break it down. Well, I break it down into probably about 4 stages. So it's concept and design, and then initial design testing. That's when you get I think in America you call it the same thing. It's polystyrene foam. Oh, it's the foam that these models are packed in. The cradles that they're packed in.
Yeah.
So it's polystyrene or EPS. Your CNC cut a model from blocks of that based on your initial 3D drawings and designs, and you test fly that. You want to test fly your aerodynamic choices, your airfoils, and your incidences and everything else. So it's a proof of concept of the aerodynamics of the design, and for the ergonomics of the design as well. Once you've done that stage and you're happy with that, then you start putting your money where your mouth is, because you have to lay down some serious cash in the mold processing process. So you open a mold. It's a metal, I think it's aluminium block. It's a reverse of the foam pieces, and that's the mold. That's the mold stage. That's the first stage molding. You get your first model. You test it again, see if it flies as good. In fact, it should fly better than the CNC because it's smoother and it's a better finish. And then if there's anything that needs changing at that point, it's something you're not happy with, you change it. And then you go into the final stage of development, which is color scheme, box art, stuff like that. And then you go into mass production and delivery. And that process can take, the shortest time I've ever done it in is 9 months from concept to delivery of the product in our warehouse. And that was for the Durafly Mark 1A Spitfire, which we then made the Mark 5 from as well. But typically it takes about, if you're lucky, it takes about a year, but often it can take more. And there's delays out of your control, like COVID, or factory delays, or supplier delays. But if you're lucky, it takes around about a year, that process.
That's pretty neat.
That is neat, right? We never knew how that happened, so now, boom, we got
and
it.
It's intense. And I work with some really good people, both at Hobby King and with our factories as well. I've got some very good relationships with factories I've been working with for years now, and we know how. They know the expectations I have, and at the beginning, you'd actually have to spend a lot more time working with these factories. But now they know what's expected, and they're a lot more experienced. So that part of the process is actually much quicker. But also outside of Hobby King, we have 1 or 2, I guess you call them beta testers or designers that voluntarily work with me as well. One of them I want to give a shout out to is Tom Hunt. Now, I spoke about the Spitfire. The Spitfire was actually based on one of his 3D models. We took the 3D model and, with working with Tom, and we changed it to suit the mass production process. And he now actually, because he's a real scale, he's like the scale police.
Gotta have those guys.
And he says to me, "Oh, Stuart, this is wrong. This is terrible." And I'm like, "Tom, it's a model. We can only go so far." And he appreciates that, and he gets that now. So we work well together, him and I. And he's working on the background with quite a lot of projects with me now. And we've got into a nice flow of things. Again, the factories know the expectation. We've been working together for years, and people like Tom that helped me out with, some of the more detailed aspects, because he's an aircraft engineer. I'm not an aircraft engineer. I'm just a modeler. He knows more than anyone about aerodynamics. So all of that comes together as to give us the process that we follow to develop models. And this one itself, this was a group development, because, like I said, I didn't develop this model in its original form. It was done by the guys originally that took over from my job when I first left Hobby King, and there was about 3 or 4 guys working on it then. And now this version, the V2, myself and another guy called Albert, who did work on the V1. He's based out in Hong Kong. We work together in a smaller team now, and brought out the V2. And then, of course, there's the video guys. And I've got to give a shout out to Andries, who's probably sleeping now. He's our cameraman and editor here in the Netherlands, and he does a great job of capturing these, I think. So that's the process.
Hey, wonderful, man. Thank you, dude, for going through that. I know that was long and drawn out for you to do, but I appreciate you humoring us over there.
The process is long and drawn out. So it's just just a reflection of that. But you're right. Not many people. I think I've been doing this for so long now. I take it for granted, all these aspects. So it's really nice to get asked those questions and to. And to go through those with people that don't know as much as people inside the industry do, because there's not many of them. It's a very small industry.
Always complain about the cost of a plane, or why does it take so long to get released? Why do they do this different? But hearing the aspect from you is a whole nother world.
Right.
And you talking about delays and costs. Again, especially in recent times, costs have gone up horribly. Everybody knows that, and it's unrealistic to I get frustrated when I see comments like, "Oh, well, when this model first came out, it was $100 cheaper 4 years ago. Everything was $100 cheaper 4 years ago."
Yeah. Gas was also $2 then.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And then for the delays as well, I can understand people getting frustrated with delays, and that's actually why we stopped teasing models. I got into a lot of trouble a few years back for teasing models way too early, because no one was there to check me. But I've been checked now, and I can't do it. And I won't do it because there's so many unknowns in terms of logistics and delays, transport delays. Like if a port gets shut down in China, that's a massive knock-on effect for shipping goods. If the workers can't get into the factories to produce the goods, or if their suppliers that supply, because this is the thing to remember, the factories we work with and our partner factories that make these models, they don't make all of the components. They buy, like any car manufacturer or something, they will buy in components from other suppliers, and if those suppliers have delays, that's a knock-on delay to the final production of the model. There's so many moving parts, and delays just happen. But unfortunately, they're happening more now than anyone would like. But it's just the reality right now. Same with pricing. It's the reality. And speaking of pricing, actually, I did want to say, if your viewers are still thinking about getting one in the US, I would encourage you to get one sooner rather than later, because the price that it's selling at now, $399, that's from the first batch, and that came in a month or so ago. Transport costs are going up and up, and it could well be that the next batch that comes in, our transfer and transport fee, on the container, may have gone up even further, and we may or may not be able to absorb that price. So you could see the model increase by $10 or so next time round. So if you are thinking of getting one, I'd do it sooner rather than later.
And get you some extra props and things just in case you need them, guys. I mean, because they are there right now.
We got them.
You might as well get you something, if you think you may need it. I think the props on this plane are pretty rigid. I think they're pretty good. If you're flying on asphalt and you strike the ground, you might have a problem. Grass.
I think you'd have I think you'd struggle to strike the props. I mean, you can scrape the wing. You can scrape the wing. I think the outboard prop you might strike. But Jeff, you're right. We have the props. So
yeah,
if you strike the prop,
You tore the airplane
Clearly
up.
don't need to be flying.
Right. Well, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You know,
Jeff, you haven't broken a prop of you.
Or
yeah, I
gone.
think I'm with Stuart. I mean, I'm tipping the plane over right now, and I mean, I'm thinking you'll probably
Yeah.
strike the wing
It's
edge.
got quite a narrow track undercarriage, right?
Yeah.
You got to remember that. So it will. If you're very unlucky, you will get the outboard prop on. Oh, you got the tanks on too.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Oh,
tanks.
nice.
These come off very easily as far as the magnets. They're not painted, so they snap right back in here easily. I don't know if I can do this sitting behind it. Yeah, there it is.
Do you know I don't fly with the tanks on just because I'm obsessed with extra weight, and I know they weigh nothing.
Same
Yeah.
here.
The interesting story, if you guys want to hear it just quickly. Speaking of weight, I've been doing it with all the new models that have come out, but we had ready to go a ultra lightweight version of this, but my boss at the last minute said, let's see how it goes. But he basically cancelled it, and the ultra lightweight version was with no undercarriage. It had so no retracts. It instead had a vacuum formed pan, and it was for hand launch. It was designed for hand launch, and that thing was super lightweight. We managed to cut out a lot of additional weight because the gear is actually quite heavy.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to know what you guys would think. That do you prefer the ROG version, or how do you think a hand launch version would go down? I think now the ROG would be better actually.
Yeah, the gear.
Yeah, I like having my gear, man. To me, that's just I love the scaled fidelity of that.
Yeah.
And another thing, Deuces Wild was asking a while ago if this plane had a cargo door, and that's what I was just trying to show. Yes, it does, and it does work. You can put it on a switch to slow it down, so you can have it come open at the speed you like. There's also, when the door's open, there's a light inside, which is pretty cool too. And I'll show you another thing that I like with this plane, guys. The windows on this plane are also all clear.
Windows.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if you want to put more lights inside this plane and light it up, you can see my finger. You can actually see through these. And so that's really cool. I like that a lot.
Look, guys, y'all know I'm all about lights, right?
Yeah.
But I think Jeff has taken it one step further. I met Jeff a couple weeks ago. I stopped by his house and ended up taking one of his planes home. This man has done wired lights into the cockpit to where the screen is backlit. He said, yeah, man, I like lights. And I'm like, well, you got one up on me.
Yeah.
The lights on that plane are definitely a good thing for me. I enjoy the lights. I like
Did you notice with the little light on top that it only starts strobing once you advance the throttle a little bit?
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
I can't believe that I've only noticed that today when I was setting up this one. I was like, how the hell could I go through this whole V2 development and not notice that? And yeah, that's what it does.
What's going on, Brandon?
Hey, Brendan.
We got Brendan in here.
Hey.
Hey, Brendan, what's up, buddy? I was going to show you guys the, you see the.
I'm just looking at the chat right now.
Some of the lights on here. You've got your wingtip lights, of course, and your landing lights on the front. The gear lights aren't on because I don't have the radio and haven't cycled the gear. So, but yeah, that is.
I'm telling you, them lights that are on the leading edge of them gear doors are
awesome. They're bright.
Yes, it's funny because you guys know how Jeff is. Jeff is all about some lights on an airplane, right? Like if the airplane doesn't have lights, he's not about it. And this is the first time I ever heard Jeff say. He was like, the lights on the airplane, he's like, man, they're too bright. And I was like, there's no such thing. I mean, it was amazing, but you could see it really, really good, especially on the wing.
It was pretty dark when we flew too, Bobby.
Yeah, it was very, very dark. It was
not
very dark.
Oh, someone's asking how you load the battery. Jeff, have you got a...
Yeah, I'll show you. If I can get let me grab this camera. Basically, the battery, if you can see inside here, sits all the way back up against the bulkhead inside. You got a big battery tray, but actually the battery goes to the back. Let me see. I'll put the phone in there for you. How about that? Can y'all see that?
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, there we go.
Inside.
Excuse the mess. I mean, it's functional.
Yeah, there's the inside, and there's the battery, and it's all the way as far back as it'll go.
Now, the actual strap, I don't use at all. I took the strap out, and I just use Velcro. and then
Yeah.
I can. It's just that much easier. You can just put it in, dump it down. It's not going anywhere unless you're doing rolling Harriers or something like that, which you wouldn't be doing anyway. And on the V1, even with the V1, with the battery in that position, in that crossways position, people were struggling to get the correct CG. They were saying it was still too nose heavy. So one of the changes we made when we re-augmented the weight distribution, I don't know if any of you had the V1, but those of you that did will remember that the fuselage spars that you joined the towel onto, they were carbon rods. They're actually now steel rods, and it's heavier, but it's heavy in the right position. You've now got that weight at the back. You can always attain the correct CG with the battery just there now because we've redistributed the weight. So little things like that help to make it just that easier to use.
All right, I'm trying to get this where you guys can see the doors here.
Yeah,
See the gear door, the gear lights on the gear door.
Yeah, on the main ones. Yeah, there's one on the. Is there one on the nose? When that Jeff, you said there's one on the nose and it was blinding you, right? When it.
He was talking about the gear doors.
I'm talking about the gear doors. Like when you're like at night when you're coming in, it's kind of bright.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man.
Can you show the cargo door, Jeff, or did you show that already?
Well, yeah, I've got it. I had it open because I had actually. I don't even think I've got mine hooked up anymore. But I had it hooked around this way.
All right. So normally, yeah, when that's all set up, the light will come on.
Yes.
And what John VH did, I think he'll show it on his channel later. He filled it in with Depron foam, so it's now like a cube or a box in there, and his parachutes can now drop out easily. So it's an easy thing to do, just to block it all off, so it's just a nice empty box that stuff can easily fall out of. Because of course it's great fun. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would almost like to add a little weight to the tail so I can slide my battery forward a little more because I got big hands.
Yeah. If it could sit in line with the fuselage, that would be better. So, 20 grams of sticky lead on the back, that would be a no-brainer. Paint it white.
Personal preference. I'm not saying everybody has to do it. It's just me.
Yeah. No, I get that. And are you guys varnishing yours or putting Jeff, I know you do that. You put the clear finish on your models, don't you?
I do a lot of them. This one is so nice. I'm not putting anything on this one, man.
I normally don't. And this one it's pretty resilient. I mean, it doesn't really need it.
The Minwax you're talking about, or
polyacrylic.
Polyacrylic, yeah. Well, that foam armor, that's some good stuff too. It's not very heavy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It all adds a little bit of weight, but I think it can take it. I think it can take it well.
It's definitely a good model. Some of the detail that you put in there is beyond what the price point is. So it's a lot of good value. Me and Jeff are known to be pretty honest about like airplanes, and we kind of scrutinize stuff, and we didn't really have anything bad to say about this plane at all. Like it flies really good.
I think if it didn't fly as good as it did, then you'd probably be a bit peeved. But no, it's got a lot of plastic detailed parts that we're happy with the finish, and then as a happy coincidence, it actually flies well.
It flies really good.
And the two landing lights on the wings are bright too. I mean,
not to switch gears, but Jeff over there, Jeff's Customs, he sold me on that Albatross. And me and Jeff flew the Albatross in some crazy high wind, but that is a phenomenal flying airplane.
Yes, it is.
Blown away.
It's fast as well. It can really be
fast. It's got amazing power.
Yeah.
I was like, Jeff, you've got to fly this thing, and I was impressed, thoroughly impressed.
Well, it takes off of grass so well if you don't have water. It just does great and it looks good. Again, another plane you don't have to paint or change anything on. It's got great lights on it. I've always loved the Albatross. I've got version 1 and 2, and they're phenomenal airplanes, man. For the money, they're great.
You should have sold me your version 1 then. I could have just brought it home because you don't need 2.
It's true.
Hey man, you can't ever have too many. You know what I mean?
Hey, while you're there, Get that King Air off of them too, Jeff.
I tried to get the King Air, man. He won't float it.
Nah, I love my King Air, man. That's awesome.
I'm
telling you, look,
King Air is my next one.
Avios is killing it, guys. Avios is doing some awesome stuff, and I mean, it's you for your price for what you're getting with these airplanes, man. I mean, they're just great airplanes. The foam quality is amazing. The quality is right there with everything else you're seeing nowadays.
Thank you, Jeff. And speaking of the King Air, or the King Twin, sorry, there is a white version coming, all white version. And
nice.
Just to give you an exclusive, Jeff, and that, as well as the next batch of
y'all smell a paint job. I smell paint. Y'all smell.
Yes, exactly. So that white version, along with the next batch of the regular blue and white one, is going to have some tweaks to the nose gear as well.
Awesome.
Been working with some of the guys in the community to improve on that, and it was already okay, but a few customers were experiencing some issues. We've eradicated that now, so that won't be an issue.
Yeah, well, then, again, the quality and the construction of that airplane, as far as the foam quality, everything about it, the looks of it, everything, a great airplane. I'm telling you, awesome airplane.
All we need now is some nice, big jets in the Avios range. But
man, we're looking
trying to get stuff across the line. It's a saturated market now. There's a lot of jets.
One step at a time, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of jets, Jeff, you've got that airliner one, haven't you? The new what's it called?
Oh, you talking about the J65?
Yeah, is that arrived yet?
It's not here yet. I'm hoping any day. They've some people are getting them from Banana. I ordered mine through BitGo, and like I said, they've had shipping issues, as you well know, with everything. And so hopefully, man, I've got fingers crossed that it'll be here soon, and that's gonna be a great airplane. Now, Bobby, he has the PJ50, and
man,
we actually flew that today.
We literally flew it before this show, and we were racing home. Yes, we were late to the show because of it. And man, I'm just gonna say it's a phenomenal flying airplane. Very smooth.
It's going to be good to see those two battle it out.
Well, Jeremy Soltz is doing that, Stuart. Yeah. He's got both of them, and he's got a comparison. He does a video comparison. He does picture comparisons. So if you haven't seen his channel,
it's great stuff.
Yeah, definitely check that out. I like the J65 better as far as the looks of it, as far as the gear, how they look, the lights on it. A lot of guys really like the X-Fly fans, so this is the first time I've stepped away from Freewing, and I like Freewing, and I'm hoping that I won't be disappointed. And I took the words of a good friend of mine in the advice that told me that they were very impressed by this particular plane, and so with that being said, I value what they say, so I went ahead and jumped all over it.
Well, the reason that I bring it up, talking about Avios and wanting to do some jets, that was one we were speaking to X-Fly, and it just wasn't something we could do at that time. We gave some notes to X-Fly. I think they probably implemented a few of those in the production version. And Jeff, I know, and you can say it now, that I shared your video of the XL.
Yeah, my friend was Stuart, in case y'all didn't know.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think, Bobby, you saw it too, and that was flying off grass, and it was flying really, really well. But I know the Freewing one will be good as well. So I'm just looking forward to sitting back with my popcorn and watching the two different companies fight it out for the top spot.
Well, the day that Stuart showed me this plane, it was probably about a month and a half before it was released, because he was one of the first ones outside of China to actually fly this airplane. And he sent me his personal video, and the day he sent it to me, I said, "I'll buy that. Take my money now," and he was like, "Well, I don't know if we're going to do it. It might be a different company." And I'm like, "I got to have that, man. That's just beautiful." And And
No,
then,
it was a shame. We couldn't do it, but it was a shame. But was that the video, Jeff? Sorry to interrupt. Was that the video where I ran out of battery right at the end, and I just
yeah, but you landed it great, man. I mean,
That's
you
the
hit
thing,
LVC.
Yeah, and it was, you don't want to, when you get samples like that, you don't want to wreck them, but at the same time you want to push them. So I was flying flat out to LVC, and I pulled full up, and it just flared, and it survived, and there was no damage at all.
But you flew it for the first time without a gyro, and I think it's amazing because Stuart said to me, he said, I think it would be really locked in tight with a gyro. And funny thing is now X-Fly is putting a gyro in that particular plane. So again, another exciting thing that I'm looking forward to, because I have no shame. I fly with a gyro and I'm proud of it. And this C-130 has a gyro in it, so
it doesn't need a gyro.
I was going to say it absolutely doesn't need it. It flies so smooth.
I like just for it's like having just some extra something there for me, man. It makes me feel happy,
To each his own.
That's right. But look, my man Jeff over here doesn't even fly with Expo or anything. I don't think you do either, Bobby.
I don't use Expo, no.
Man, see, I do. I fly with anywhere from 20 to 30%, depending on the plane.
I don't fly with either.
And Jeff just lets it rip, man.
Okay, wow.
Zero
I can't do
rates.
that.
Blows my mind.
Here's my rates.
No, you would be you would have a heart attack on one of my settings. When I pass my radio over to someone at the club, that I always have to immediately put it in high rates, because low rates, it's just there's virtually no movement, and even in full rates, they're like, well,
Okay, so RC Roland has a question, guys. Let's find the question, because he's saying, please get my question answered. So, Jeff, do you see his question anywhere?
I'm looking.
Jeff Custom, please. Let's see. It was at 753.
I had the B1. The only issue I had was servos going bad. Did you upgrade to better servos? I want to get the B2, but worried about the servos. I have the Albatross also.
The servos and ESCs are they're essentially the same, but the QC and the firmware on them would be newer versions. Jeff, you just need to unplug your model. So yes, essentially they're the same, but the firmware on the ESCs has been updated, and the QC all round has been improved. So I would say personally to RC Roland, if he orders one and he finds anything wrong with it, he can just PM me directly on RC Groups, for example, and we'll make sure he gets exactly what he needs. We'll do the right thing.
See, man, you can't beat that. That's what I'm talking about right there. So, Roland, I hope that answered your question, buddy.
Or just go directly to CS, because they'll do the same thing as well.
Yeah.
We are working, and we are getting much better with our CS. So
just tell him you heard it straight out of the horse's mouth, Stuart, and he said to fix it.
Yeah, go straight to the head of the ladder. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Was there any other questions that we missed in there whilst we're looking at questions?
Well, like I said, I know Deuce has asked about the cargo door. So, yeah, we do have that. It does have that. And you can adjust how fast it opens and closes, and a light comes on when the door opens. Yes, and it is a 4S battery Wild Bill
2200
C-130. Yeah. Yes, it is.
That actually blew my mind. I was like, a 4S with 4 motors, 4
You said
ESCs.
that,
Yeah, I was like, that is crazy. Just for it to run all that off of that. That little 4S, and what we were running, a 2600, Jeff?
Bobby, yeah, 20. The Avios is way better. So, Stuart, I had an ASM 100-inch C-130.
Oh, right, heavy.
First time flying it, I put 4 batteries in it, Bobby.
Yeah, at least.
I didn't have the ESCs, merged together. And flew one time, flew like a brick. Second time, I put it in, and I was just like, man, I should have flew smaller batteries probably, but the 2600 we flew in it, man, it flew great.
Yeah,
and what flight times were you getting on those? Because Jeff, I know you fly your stuff pretty balls to the wall pretty hard most of the time.
Yeah.
So what flight times were you getting on the 26?
To say the least, he does.
Yeah, we ended up with 5 minutes. I mean, we were dogging it out.
And I landed early because I couldn't see the plane because it was too dark.
Yeah.
And
Well, I got 5 minutes out of mine, and I came down, but I flew at very scale. I came down with 3.78 across the board, with 5 minutes of flight time.
Yeah, I regularly get 7 minutes of scale flying, but I am known to not be kind on my packs. I often fly until there's no juice left.
And also Rich M asked, do you have to cycle the gear? Yeah, so like when you first plug your model in, you want to flip your switch. John VH went over this, and I went over it in the unboxing as well, because it's kind of like the MiG-17. You just want to flip your switch and one time, and you're ready to go. Everything will be good. You have to do that each time you put in a new battery. So
it's a simple thing. And again, with that nose protector now, it's that much easier to put it up on its nose and cycle that. The other thing, what I had with one of my pre-production samples, my ESCs weren't synced, and what was happening in flight when I was applying power, I was getting adverse roll and yaw. It was behaving strangely. So if anybody gets in the situation where they're flying and they see that, immediately land and calibrate the ESC. Or better yet, just calibrate your ESC before you even do your first flight. So
and that's another thing. Everybody should calibrate ESCs on everything. Period.
And it's the same simple procedure.
Yes. And Stuart, have you or anyone else talked about doing differential thrust on this particular airplane?
Stuart didn't want to talk to you, Jeff. He pulled his earbuds out. So
That's right. He did. He said, "I'm done. I want to go to sleep."
I said, has anybody, have you or anybody else done differential thrust on this plane yet?
No, just because I'm lazy. Yeah, it could be done. You just need to set up. I suppose you could have. There's 4 motors, so you could have a Y lead, just one Y lead, and have 2 ESCs in one Y lead, 2 SCs in another. But ideally, you would have 4 separate Y leads, which means you need 3 additional channels. So you'd need what, a 10-channel receiver?
Yeah.
Or just disable the cargo door and something else. But it could be done. You just need a lot more channels to do it.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's an awesome model.
You want to drop us some hints on some new stuff coming out? You want to you want to give us a heads up on some cool stuff that you're working on?
Well, I told you the thing that we're not getting. I just told you that, but you're gonna like it anyway. I could just, as long as you can't see my screen, I could.
Yeah, we can't see it.
Look at my. There's a few more firm favorites coming back. There's some brand new models that you haven't seen before. There is some EDFs, not giant ones like I really, really like, but smaller ones that probably suit the market right now. I think from all manufacturers, you'll be seeing a pause on any big projects that they had because the cost of foam materials and everything else has gone up. I think you'll see more smaller models this year from everybody. I don't know if you guys are a fan of smaller models. I personally am not. I think they have their place and they're a lot of fun. But if I had to buy a model, I would always buy a bigger model. That's just my personal preference. That being said, the small guys that we've got coming out are a lot of fun and they're good value for money. And that's the thing, there's not really there's no such thing as a cheap foamy anymore, which is a really sad thing to say, especially in the bigger size. Unless you go, really down, you're not going to find a foamy that flies well with good performance for less than $150, for example. Now, that being said, I think you'll see a focus on the sub $250 price range, and certainly, whilst we're not exclusively looking at that size for this year, you'll see more of the smaller ones than you will the bigger ones this year. And it's going to be a mix of some EDFs, some balsa, and some scale models and some sports models.
Nice.
And I think the next release is, because we're really churning them out right now. What did we have? We had the Prime Tundra, which is my little baby that came out a few weeks ago. I know you guys, Bobby and Jeff, were enjoying that. And then,
we found out that you're not supposed to fly that on 4S.
Yeah.
No, I was inspired by that.
Yeah. We did.
And it was cooking, man. That little thing was
smoking. That video.
Literally.
Fast.
But actually, you said it was okay. The ESC motor was
Yeah,
fine.
everything was fine.
Yeah, we had no problem.
Inspired by that, I'm going to do a Forest video for our official channel. And,
There you go.
show people how it goes.
Make sure you name drop me. You know.
That's it.
You got to
Me
be
and Jeff
name dropped.
don't really
Don't
pay
worry.
much attention to the S and things like that. We just throw a battery in it and we're like, yeah, we'll see what happens.
I think it's a lot of that old adage. If it looks right, it flies right. If it looks like it will take the battery, it probably will. Just
Pretty
put it in and see. Yeah.
By the way, Jeff, we should tell them we put the Excalibur V2 on 5S.
Oh right, yeah. I've seen a little bit of that. I didn't dare
That
do it
was
myself.
crazy.
That plane, Stuart, Jeff, dude, it is scary
It
the way that
was.
plane sounds when you throttle it up. Like
Yeah.
it's like you want to be on the other side of the field away from it.
Yeah.
Because it's about to do some damage. But man,
We
that
couldn't
thing-
even do a 5S speed trial on it because it was so fast. It was just, I was like, Jeff, I don't think we're going to be able to do it on this one. It was crazy.
If
Have
we
you
go
done
back out and do a speed trial, I'm gonna wear like full like
Full metal jacket.
dog
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, body
that
armor.
we wear for the dogs. I'm gonna wear one of those and a helmet because that thing was just
Well, hey, look, you got
I'd
to
see
give it
that
to
video.
Jeff, man. When Jeff can stand there and hold a camera and a speed gun at the same time, I mean, come on, that's just
So
talent.
you doing it like that?
Yeah, we trained him pretty well,
I mean, that's talent.
he does. He can do it all, man.
Now,
It's-
can he
it's-
stand
yeah.
on one leg and do it all? Is the question.
He's working on it.
Yeah. Lord.
Oh man.
All right. Well, look. Anybody else got any more questions? We got to let
Come
Stuart
on
go to
down,
bed.
That's true.
Brendan, come on down, dude. You'll love it here. We'll all get together and have a great time.
Definitely, man. Come on.
You guys,
Yes, sir.
yes. I've traveled to. How many states have you got there in America?
50.
50. Yeah.
I had an American colleague, and he was really annoyed that I'd been to more states than he had. Because I did a lot of traveling with Hobby King quite a few years back around the states. I think I went to around 14 states, and
Oh wow.
across the country. And I got to say, I always enjoyed the South the most.
Yeah, you've been to.
back.
I asked
We have
you.
to
You've
link
been
up.
to North Carolina. You said right?
Yeah, many times. I really Joe Knoll there, and then Seth is over in Georgia. No, where's Seth?
Where is he?
Atlanta.
Southern
Atlanta.
Electric Fun
Yeah.
Fly. That's
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
Atlanta way, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, I believe so. Are you going to try? You think you're going to try to get the Knoll inning this year?
Well, I think the US team are going to try and do either the one in May or possibly the one in September. They're definitely doing the Neat Fair. Tommy and Rob and the guys there. If I can get out to that, great. I mean, they've got to convince the owner of the company that it's a worthwhile investment. I hope they can, because I really, really enjoy that. I think
Well, we'll put you up, man. You got to get here. We'll
That'll
put
be
you up.
that'd be amazing. The Southern hospitality thing, I found the Southern states to be the best states. I really
It's a
am.
real
right,
thing.
man.
It's a real thing.
Brendan said it was 5 degrees out when he shot his video of the C-130.
Hey, at least we know it'll fly in the cold, right?
That's right.
We saw it. We flew this one in the frost, and
Gosh.
Yeah.
it was beautiful. We got up we'd had really crap weather up until then, and we got up super early. That was when we shot that. That was like 7:30 in the morning as the sun was coming up, and we got the one beautiful crisp morning that we had of the winter, and it worked out. It worked out really, really well. It's something. It's the same day that I shot one of my own videos. I had my quarter scale pup, and that was in the frost too. And there's something really. I don't know how much frost you get there in your part of the world, but there's something really, really magical about flying in those.
Hey,
cold
look,
conditions.
man, we can't look. The winds have been killing us here. Man.
Oh,
You
I mean,
said,
yeah.
you said.
and look, the funny thing is, last week we were in the 70s. Last night and the night before, we were down in the like freezing 30s.
Yeah, it's
You
in the
know?
30s.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
we've had gorgeous, like unseasonably nice, dry. It's been clear blue skies and warm for 7 days, and it's the 7 days that I've had this fever. I've been looking outside from my bed, just completely depressed because it's the perfect flight. I had to water my garden in March. You don't water your garden in March. That's unheard of.
Wow.
It's nuts. And of course, now that I'm getting better, the weather's going to be crap again. So that's the
Well, I
way
think
it is.
last Monday's the first time I've flown in weeks because the wind's been so bad around here.
Yeah.
We did our maiden for the C-130. I mean, it was 18, 20 mile an hour.
It was Gus, and I looked at Jeff. I was like, "You think we should be doing this with this airplane?" And he was like, "It'll be all right." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Let's take it up."
Hey, again, you see what they can do.
Well, Jeff, your maiden flight video, that was quite gusty as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, you could hear the wind blowing. I mean, it wasn't as bad as it sounded. It was a little bit cross, not terribly bad, but yeah. So again, you see how good it flies, and I started out halfway through the flight with no gyro, and then like I said, I do have one in here, so I switched it on, and it just locked it in even tighter, especially with that crosswind. And you saw how greasy I landed it. I mean, it came down beautifully. So. And that was with no flaps because with the wind, I didn't need them,
Yeah.
So if you put flaps on this plane with wind, it'll float for days.
It sure will. You won't bring it down. And it has a glide ratio like you wouldn't believe.
That's right. So, yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, so look, I'm thrilled with this plane. I think all the guys that are flying it I haven't seen any negative. And we all talk, so yeah. It's awesome, man. Y'all ought to sell a lot of them.
It's doing well. It's as I said at the beginning, the Coast Guard is selling more than the airliner. I'm getting tired now. The transport scheme, but yeah, I think it's really nice to have it back in our lineup, and I look forward to you guys continuing to enjoy yours, but also everyone else that's buying them now to seeing their customer reviews and opinions. And again, if anybody's having any issues with anything, contact CS directly. And if for whatever reason that's not happening, even though it absolutely should be, then they can just contact me directly on, I guess, Facebook or on RC groups.
Yeah.
Paul, I was trying to get it to where I could pick whenever somebody's talking where it could go big. I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Oh, you're trying to do too much over there. That's
It's 2:00 Stewart's time. 2 in the
Yeah,
morning.
man. So look, we need to let Stewart get out of here. He hasn't been feeling good. And he was kind enough to come in here tonight and hang out with us for a while. So,
well, I can tell you I feel a lot better now after speaking to you guys. So thank you.
Awesome, man. Good deal. That's Southern hospitality.
There you go.
That's right.
Well,
look, Stuart, we're going to let you get out of here, man, and get to bed. And thank you so very much for hanging out with us. And
thank you.
Thank you for all you guys do for me and my channel. And glad to have all of you guys on board and having a good time with us all, and hopefully Hobby King as well as yourself will have a prosperous year, and
yes,
we'll see some good things coming our way. And again, I appreciate Jeff for getting this done for me tonight. And
this is cool. This worked out really well.
Yeah, and thanks to all the guys that are influencers and showing this airplane for Hobby King. Everybody's doing a great job. And Stuart, if you got any final words, we'll let you get out of here, man.
No, just to say thank you. And Bobby and Jeff as well. It's great to see you guys in here. I'd like to do this again. This was cool.
Yeah.
And again, to all the other influencers out there, Jeff, you just mentioned. You mentioned at the beginning of the show, but I know John VH, he's been talking up one that we sent him. We've got the Petrinchik brothers out in Slovenia, and then we've got GB Linden and Brendan as well. Everyone's enjoying it and doing a great job with the content that they're creating. So thank you for that. And then off the back of that, thank you for all the support you're giving it and the company and your honest opinions of them, because I think that really resonates with the guys that are watching now, because it's reflected in the comments and in the sales. So thank you very much.
And wait for the speed test, because Jeff and Bobby will be doing it.
We're gonna see what it's doing, no matter if it's fast or slow.
That's right, man.
Do a slow speed test. See how slow you can get it.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, we're up for that challenge. We could do that. That'll be interesting.
Right. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be good to see.
But if it stalls, are you going to replace it for us? Is that what happens?
It's like the Prime Tundra. It doesn't stall. Well, actually, no, it does stall. The Prime Tundra doesn't stall, though. It really doesn't stall, the Prime Tundra. No, the C-130 will stall, but yes, if you need any parts, we've got them. That's fine.
Yeah, man.
Awesome, guys. Well, look, Stuart, thank you.
Call the show. I'm going to end the broadcast, but everybody stay in the StreamYard.
Yeah, man.
I'm just going to click this leave studio button and get to bed.
Thank you, Stuart.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys. Have
Thanks,
a good
Stuart. Thank you,
evening.
guys.
Take care, everybody.
See you,
Bye.
buddy.
See you
Nice.
guys.
Hey, that was cool.